Okay, sit yourself onto your lift and then just have a little wriggle about. Make sure that you feel as though you are sitting evenly. Hold onto your knees and elevate your heart area up towards the ceiling, drawing your shoulders down. Soften your jaw, soften your tongue, soften your throat. Just listen to the sounds of the breath as it enters and as it exits. Keeping your eyes still in the sockets to quieten down the brain. And then bring your hands into Namaste. Press the palms firmly together, lengthen from the armpits into the elbows. And just focus on filling the lungs and emptying the lungs, closing your eyes as you go. Consciously observe that you fill the lungs evenly on both sides and you empty the lungs evenly. Filling the lungs from the bottom to the top. And emptying the lungs from the top to the bottom. Very gently draw your chin down to meet your chest. Just spend a moment to seek to generate a genuine, heartfelt sense of gratitude for something or someone or somewhere. Allowing that feeling of abundance to accumulate in the heart area. Moment of gratitude. And then gently release the backs of your hands down towards your knees, palms facing upwards. And then as you raise your head, allow your eyes to softly open. Just hold onto your knees and work to really consciously elevate the heart area upwards, drawing your shoulders down away from your ears. Take some deep inhalations in through the nose, deep exhalations, and then with an exhalation wherever that occurs, turn to the right side with the exhalation. So drawing your abdomen and your ribs and your shoulders across, using your out breath to intensify the turn. Just observe how your weight distribution changes between the seat bones and between the feet. Observe the sensations of the pose. Observe your energy level. Observe how the air makes contact with your skin. Using each inhalation to charge up. Use the exhalation to intensify. And then come back to the center, hold onto your knees. Lift up into the chest, elevating the chest upwards, drawing the shoulders down. Take a deep inhalation. And then with the exhalation, turn. So we use the inhalation to charge up our energy. We use the exhalation to turn. Just observe the distribution of weight. Observe the sensations of the feeling of the pose. Charging up with the inhalation, exhalation into an intensifying aspect of the pose. Just come back to the center, just lift up into the chest. Feel that with each inhalation, you really do charge up the lungs, bringing really positive energy into the lungs. Do a few udanic inhalations into the sinus region. So just take some facial flushing breaths. Just bringing breath into the brain, directly into the sinuses. So flushing the sinuses with the breath. So it's quite a forceful inhalation, exhalation. And then a couple of rounds of Brahmari, just the hummed exhalation. So normal inhalation, hummed exhalation. So normal inhalation, normal exhalation. And then another normal inhalation, and then hum until the lungs feel empty. Just staying with the resonance. And then bring the breath back to a normal rhythm, maintaining the breath in and out through the nose. And then come off your lift. And then come down onto your seat bones, just sitting back on your heels, lifting up into the heart area. And then keeping the seat bones in contact with the heels if you can. Stretch your arms away. Keep the heart area lifted. Keep the breath moving in through the nose and out through the nose. And then bring your forehead down. So nostril breathing helps you to energize the body more deeply. It helps to deliver nitric acid into the lungs from nostril breathing, and that helps to dilate the blood cells and it takes in more oxygen. So you gain more energy from the breath. So I was listening to a program this week where it was talking about nostril breathing, and a scientist in Sweden, I think it was saying that they were just doing some experiments on human breath, and they observed that a certain degree of nitric acid is produced when you breathe out in and out through the mouth. But then one of the subjects wanted to didn't feel comfortable breathing through the mouth, so they tried to breathe in through the nose. So they put a mask over their face, and then they discovered that it was the nose that creates the nitric oxide, and that the nitric oxide I think it had almost tripled just from nasal breathing. And so there's a degree of immunity benefit of, I can't speak today, immunity benefit from breathing in through the nose. So nitric oxide contributes in high quantities to protecting the body from disease. Come up onto your knees, turn your toes under, and then just come up into dog down. Let your head hang down, but keep the heart area lifted. Keep the breath even and deep, filling from the bottom to the top. Straighten the legs, lift out of the feet into the hips, out of the hands into the hips. Breathe into the Udanic region, into the perineum. So we often breathe from the perineum to the collarbone with the in-breath, but this time breathe from the collarbone to the perineum with the in-breath, and vice versa for the out-breath. Just focusing on the breath. Okay, step your feet forwards, just come up into a standing position. And then bring your feet as wide apart as your mat. If you've got a problem with your back, then you can just do half uttanasana, just stretching forward with your hands on the top of a table or the back of a chair. Otherwise, we can do full uttanasana. So stamp the big toes into the floor, spread the toes really wide, and have the little toes and the heels in line with each other so that your big toes are turning inwards. Tighten the kneecaps, lift the thighs, lift up into the heart area, and then raise your arms up towards the ceiling. Just continuing to concentrate on the breath. Charging up the body with the in-breath. Hook the thumbs into the crease of the elbows. Wrap the fingers around the elbows, and then on an exhalation, come hinge at the hips, keeping the back straight. Come down into Uttanasana. Coming all the way down and then hang down. Just listen to the breath. Long, slow, deep, deliberate inhalations, deliberate exhalations. Charging up the body with the in-breath. Exerting with the out-breath. Hit the shins back so that your weight is in your heels. Stamp the heels down and then lift the hips out of the heels. Lift the hips away from the heels, lifting up into the legs. Okay, and then just release your hands down to the floor. Just come briefly into half uttanasana, just extending the spine away. And then bring your hands into your hips and then come up into Tadasana. Just be in Tadasana, inner edge of your feet together, and then lifting your head, lifting your heart, drawing the shoulders down, lengthening into the fingertips. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. Sorry, I think my phone's computer's trying to do weird things, just bear with me. So keeping the jaw and the tongue and the throat soft. Just observe how perhaps your energy has changed. Bring your arms out nice and wide, lift up into the chest. Bring your hands in towards your chest and then step or jump your feet apart. Lifting the heart area up towards the ceiling, turning the toes inwards and then bringing the left leg and foot all the way out. And then just feeling where the pelvis is. Feel that the pelvis is facing the front. So rotate the legs outwards. Rotate the legs outwards so that you broaden the pelvis. feel if the pelvis is level, or if it's kind of already kind of collapsing down into this front leg. So suck this outer hip in, lift up into the chest, take some deep inhalations. Stretching the arms out, and then on an exhalation, charging up with an inhalation, coming into the pose with an exhalation, looking up, turning the chest to face the ceiling. Just look down as your head over your foot. If it's not, then lift the chest a little more. Squeeze the front leg buttock bone in a little more. Hit towards the back of the room with the back leg. And then turn the chest up to face the ceiling. Just breathe in, charging the body up with the in-breath, exerting with the out-breath, intensifying the pose with the out-breath. Okay, come back to the center. Just release your arms for a second. Swap your feet around, turn your right toes in and your left leg and foot all the way out. And then again, bring the pelvis to face the front, just to make sure that your feet are aligned correctly, so the heel lines up with the instep. And then rotate the legs outwards so that you broaden, suck this hip inwards. Charging up the body with the in-breath. Exerting with the out-breath. It's going down with your next out-breath into trikonasana. Reaching up into that top hand. And then come back to the center, bring the feet parallel. And then step or jump your feet back together. And then come back into Tadasana. Just breathing even and deep. Just observe how trikonasana helps to start to clear out the sinuses a little. Just breathing evenly, listening to the breath. So we can do parsvakonasana. So you might want a block on your mat so you can reach it with your hand. You don't necessarily need it, but it can be helpful in parsvakonasana. So have a block on either side and then come back into Tadasana. So lift it up into the chest, elevating the heart area upwards. Bring your arms out nice and wide into the chest, and then step or jump. Go really wide as you can. Turn your left toes in, your right leg and foot all the way out. And then again, just there's always this tendency for the pelvis to want to kind of follow this front leg. So broaden the legs outwards so that you kind of start to bring the hips more level, lift up into the chest, suck this left hip in, keeping this left leg really firm, so you got to really tighten the kneecap, and then bend the knee, find a right angle with the right leg, elevating the heart area up to the ceiling at the same time, charging up the body with the in-breath. And then reach down, find the outside edge of the foot, or use your block for your hand, turn the chest, turn the palm to face the right side of the room, and then reach over. I went out of ceiling height a little here. So keep that right angle, and then turn the chest and look underneath the armpit. And again, just observe the clarity in the sinuses. Turning the chest up and looking underneath the armpit. Don't forget about this back leg. Keep pushing from the hip into the heel up into the hip. And then just windmill yourself back up, and then swap the feet around. Turn the right toes in, left leg and foot all the way out, lifting up into the heart area, using the in-breath to charge up the body. Keeping the right leg straight, bend the left leg, find a right angle, and then reach down on the little toe side of that left foot, and then reach over, turning the chest. Turning the chest up to face the ceiling, looking underneath the armpit, charging up the body with the in-breath, keeping that right leg straight. Really focusing on the kneecap of that right leg. Charging up the body with the in-breath. And then come back to the center, bring the feet parallel. And then again, step or jump your feet back together. And then lift up into the chest. Just breathing evenly. In through the nose and out through the nose. And then bring your feet hip width apart, turn your toes in, raise your arms up, hook the thumbs into the crease of the elbows, and then hinge at the hips, and then just hang down. Okay, and then just release your hands down to the floor, bring your hands into your hips, and then come up into a standing position. And then just come down onto your back for supta, baddha. So, soles of the feet together, knees apart. Just rest your hands on your lower ribs for a few moments. Just listening to the sound of the breath. Stretch your arms up to the ceiling, interlock the fingers right into the webbing of the hands, and then turn the palms all the way out. Have the thumbs in contact with each other as you extend your arms along the floor. If you've got stiff hips and this is uncomfortable to stay in for the hips, then put blocks underneath your thighs. If there's stiffness in your shoulders, then and it's difficult to bring the hands down to the floor, then put blocks underneath your hands or a folded blanket. Just something to support the shoulders. Otherwise, just observe the openness of using the floor to align the body. Observe the openness at the front of the body, the hips, the abdomen, at the chest. So one of the things that tends to happen when you raise your arms and you stretch your arms over your head is that the lumbar area is likely to kind of really overarch. So draw your belly button toward your spine and then broaden the belly button out to the abdominal walls so that you soften the lumbar. So that you consciously soften the lumbar area. Push the heels consciously together to really create compactness in the hips, which again assists that action of softness in the lumbar. Breathe in through the nose, charging up the body with the in-breath. And out through the nose. Exerting, intensifying the out-breath. Just raise your arms up to the ceiling, swap the interlock of your fingers, and then turn the palms all the way up, and then lengthen the arms along the floor. So asana is really good for just releasing tension from the hands and from the wrists. So if you do a lot of handwriting, then or a lot of typing really, then there's potential for strain in the hands. So asana helps us to just stretch out of that strain. Maintaining the softness in the lumbar region. So of course there's a natural curve in the lumbar, but it's nice to just support it a little. Okay, release your hands to the ceiling, just let go of the fingers, and then just rest your elbows on the floor, rest your hands on your lower ribs. And again, just continue to focus on inhalations, charging up the body, and exhalations releasing into the floor. So it's amazing when we practice yoga how if your body is tired at the beginning, through a little bit of effort, your energy really changes. We becomes much more present. So I slept really badly last night. I just felt like I didn't really settle at all, really. I was tired before we started, but now I feel like there is a much more manageable level of energy. Just gently draw your knees towards each other, have the knees together, the feet apart. Resting into the floor for a moment. And then draw your knees in towards your chest. Just have a little rock from top to bottom, from side to side. And then rock yourself up into a seated position. So we're going to do a seated forward bend. You'll need a belt for this potentially. And often we do these poses sitting directly on the floor, but let's sit on a folded blanket. So this just will give you a little bit of extra elevation underneath the seat bones. And it's also comfortable. So just roll over and move the buttock flesh out to the side, and then stretch the legs away. So maybe you notice that just sitting on a folded blanket just gives you a better ability to charge up the legs and just to activate the spine to lift up into the chest. So just get your belt and then throw the belt around, lasso the belt around the feet, and then push the feet really firmly into the belt. Press the shins down into the floor. Press the kneecaps down into the floor. Press the thighs down into the floor. Turn the thighs inwards like you would in Tadasana, so that the big toes stay together and maybe the heels start to kind of inch apart a little. And then just like you're riding a horse, hold onto the belt and then elevate the heart area upwards. Continuing to charge up with the inhalation. Bring in energy in through the nose into your lungs. So just charging up the body through Dandasana. So we can do janu sirsasana in a moment. So just feel where your seat bones are. Just feel that they're kind of evenly placed with each other. But then we're going to bend out the left leg in a moment, and I want you to try and keep the seat bones level. So one of the things about bringing that leg out to the side is that the seat bone kind of feels like it wants to draw back. So try and keep the seat bones where they are. So just release the belt a moment. You can keep that handy. Get your hand into the back of the left knee, and then really consciously maintaining the position of the seat bone. Bring the foot into the inner thigh like you're doing vrksasana, the tree pose, and then just see if you can bring that knee down. Now, because you're sitting on a lift, even though it's just kind of probably less than an inch of a lift, you might find that knee is floating up in the air a little. So just use a block and just support the knee with the block, just the head of the knee, just to protect your knee, and then lift up into the heart area. So in janu sirsasana, we need to turn the torso a little so that we're directly over the front leg. We often want to just let the torso kind of come through this way. So rotate the left abdomen around to the right. You can just hold onto that left knee for a moment just to accommodate that action. Lift up into the chest and then reach forwards. And so reach up with the left hand and then come forwards. But come forwards with the heart area. Lift the heart area up, keep the head lifted. and then reach around either the outside of the foot or the outside of the shin. So reach to the outside edge of the little toe side of the foot, lift up into the chest. And then with the other hand, rotate the abdomen so that it comes right over that straight leg. Lift up into the chest. So forward bending needs to come from the heart, not from the head. Don't poke your head down. Keep your heart lifted, keep your head lifted. Reach around the foot with your right hand, so the little toe side with the right hand, big toe side with the left hand, and then keep lifting up. If you can't reach your foot, then of course just use the belt, just holding onto the belt wherever you can reach. So lifting up into the heart area, keeping the head lifted. Just a little bit at a time coming forwards. If you've got a bad back, just stay at the first stage, unless this feels okay for your back. Bringing your elbows out to the side as you come forwards, but keeping your head lifted. Keep your head lifted, Ruth. Just keep lifting the head, driving forwards with the heart area. So you should be able to see your chin. Drive the chin towards the foot. And then, if you can wrap your hand, reach around the foot, then do. Keep coming forwards, keeping the head lifted until the very last minute, and then bring the head down. Keep turning the leg as if you're doing Tadasana, turning it from the inside, from the outside in. So the front of the thigh rotates to the inner thigh. So Janu sirsasana, really good pose for the liver and the kidneys. But we come forwards with the heart, not the head. That's really important because it helps to protect the spine. Breathing evenly, charging up the body with the in-breath. And then lift your head. Just come back up into a seated position. Just observe the quietness of coming out of a forward bend, and then just stretch your legs out in front. So just to be observant of the position of the seat bones. Bring the right hip knee out to the side. Lift up into the chest. Reach up with the right hand. Reach to the little toe side or the shin. Turn the chest from the right to the left. Turn the leg from the outside to the inside. Reach around the leg with both hands. Keep coming forwards with the heart area. And then if you can reach around the foot, then using the belt, turning the abdomen, turning the leg from the little toe side to the big toe side. Always trying to come forwards with the heart rather than the head. Just allowing the head to lower at the last minute once the chest is in contact with the leg. So Janu sirsasana literally translates as head to knee. So all these poses also help to clear out the sinuses, especially if you breathe in and out through the nose. Okay, and then lift the head. Just come back to the center. Again, just observing the quietness of the brain. Just stretch your legs out and then stay on the lift, and then come into cross legs, lifting up into the heart area, elevating the heart to the ceiling. Take a deep inhalation and then turn to the right. And then come back to the center. Hold onto your knees, lift up into the heart area. Take a deep inhalation and then turn to the left. And then gently come back to the center. Just come off your lift. Just have that from underneath your head, and then just come down onto your back. Just pull your knees in toward your chest, and then lengthen the legs up to the ceiling. Hold on to the edges of the mat so that you really lengthen the arms, so that you can stretch up into the legs. Do dandasana with the legs. So turning the fronts of the thighs inwards, pushing into the heels. Breathing even and deep. We're not going to stay for too long in viparata karanhi. Okay, and then release your legs down to the floor, and then just come up onto your elbows. Make sure you're in a really good straight line right down the center of your mat. Move any equipment out of the way. If you're wearing glasses, just take them off the last couple of minutes. And then just allow yourself to completely release into the floor. Let go of the arms and the legs. Unhooking the muscles. Letting go of the arms and the legs, letting the body become heavy, but fairly quickly out of that heaviness, you'll observe that the body fills with a lightness of energy. Lightness radiating out from the bones and into the muscles and into the organs, and the flesh and the skin. Just using your in-breath and your out-breath to distribute that feeling of lightness evenly down into the tips of the toes, the tips of the fingers, the top of the head. So breathe in that lightness into the top of the head, into the brain. It's a good way of lightening your mood. Just basking in that feeling of energetic lightness. And when you're ready to disturb yourself, just wriggle your toes, wriggle your fingers. Bend your knees in towards your chest. Just have a little rock from side to side, from top to bottom, just a gentle massage on the spine. And then gently roll onto your right side. Just stay down for a breath or two. And then straighten out the top leg. Come back up into a seated position. Just the final cross legs with your hands in the masti. Just a final spinal lift. Drawing your breath in through your nose down into the abdomen. Be conscious of the energy that you have released through your practice this morning, that good, positive, healthy flow of clean energy that the extensions and the forward bends and the twists bring to the body and to the mind. Draw your chin down to meet your chest. Just spend a moment to acknowledge the positive energy you've created inside. And then radiate some of that positive energy out into the world. And then release the backs of your hands down toward your knees, palms facing upwards. And as you raise your head, allow your eyes to softly open and the focus to softly come back. Thank you very much. So hopefully you feel as though you've really lifted your energy and just giving yourself some good positive energy to put into your day. Thank you very much.